In this video, I'm going to discuss the resources available to teachers in the Teacher Resource and Training Room. Whether you're a new teacher with Keystone, whether you've been here for a few years, this is a great place to come and to try to learn more about Keystone, about our policies, about all of the ways that we can help our students and their parents get through their courses. The first thing we're going to talk about is your access to the Student Resource and Orientation Center. This is the same place that students can go and get a better idea about what they can do to make Keystone work for them. One of the things that a lot of students struggle with significantly is submitting assignments. Our primary goal is to get students to complete assignments and submit those assignments, and sometimes if a student signs up for Keystone, they might be a little bit in the dark as to how to turn in everything that is required. You can go to each individual section, submitting a quiz or an exam. There are PDF instructions for how to do that. There are also videos that go along with that. So knowing that this is here, if you ever have a student reach out to you and say, I'm very confused about how to even turn in my work, I've been doing the work, I've been following the instructions, but I'm just not entirely sure how to go about getting it to you. I know we've all experienced some students emailing assignments, which is against our policy. We can't accept any assignment that is emailed to us, but we can kind of encourage students to go to the Student Resource, the Orientation Center, and look at these files, or you can even save these files to your computer. You can send your students links, make it a little bit more streamlined. Sometimes it's easier to include that PDF in an email as opposed to trying to give step-by-step instructions. The next thing, you can kind of scroll down here. You have access to submitting discussion board assignments, and there's also a math resource as well. So just familiarize yourself with this. They're great resources for you to be able to share with your students. Another really good section of the Student Resource and Orientation Center is the Where to Find Help section. So it's about down here in the middle, and this essentially gives you resources to give to students or to use to explain better to students and their parents where to get help. So obviously we have our Keystone teachers, and if you click on this, you can kind of see the teacher's responsibility, like what questions fall under the teacher's jurisdiction. You can kind of scroll down here. We have videos available that you can send, kind of meeting those teachers, seeing what the responsibility of the teachers at Keystone are. Student services, another great option. You can see it's more about making those payments, signing up for courses, getting that technical support that students might need that you as a Keystone teacher might not be able to offer them. Guidance is another really important section of Keystone. They're looking at all of that college-bound information. They keep all the records for tests, transcripts. Sometimes students will reach out to you after they've finished a course and they're a little confused as they haven't received their transcript yet, and that is something that you can offer them. They can reach out to Keystone's guidance department. And you can see at the very top here, guidance@keystonehighschool.com. This is important too. It's a great tip to just have a collection somewhere on your computer of these email addresses when students or parents reach out, say, I don't know how to contact student services, I don't know how to contact guidance. You kind of have at the ready these email addresses to be able to utilize. I'm going to head back to that main page and the Student Success Advisors. This is also a lot about what students can plan to do, how they get that pacing under control. The Student Success Advisors offer webinars to get kids started on the right path. They offer a lot of really good ways to be a successful Keystone student. So as a teacher with Keystone, you can do a lot to help students, but sometimes it's just a little bit too much, and you can kind of reach out and ask Student Success Advisors how they can help you or how they can help the students set up that schedule. So it's just a great option for you as a Keystone teacher to know that this is available. Get a little bit of a video from learning coaches as well. Scroll back up. After we leave the Student Orientation Center, we can come back to this Teacher Resource and Training Room homepage. One of the things that we are encouraged to do as teachers is to always make sure that our curriculum is right and make sure that everything is correct and that if anything is broken, it gets fixed. So the curriculum tickets, whenever you find errors, you can come here and you can go ahead and get information about how to go about submitting that ticket if you do find anything wrong in your course. If there's a date that's wrong in a history course, if you are doing a math problem helping a student, you discover that one of the steps in the math problem just doesn't make sense, this would be how you'd go about submitting that ticket. So you can have this PDF here. Once again, I really do recommend just kind of downloading these PDFs. They can be really helpful and on hand if you have a folder on your computer, just like Keystone resources, and you can label them something that makes the most sense to you instead of having to dig through the teacher resource, all these teacher resources in the training room. Here at Keystone 2, it's one of our policies that we have email signatures. So if you come over here to the general setup, you can look at the policy, making sure to keep your email signature updated. A lot of the times with our classes, they can switch around. We can go from teaching one grade to another, or courses, we can have additional courses. Just make sure that that signature is up to date, and that you're making sure that it's always available to your students, that they have the proper links to access you and to be able to communicate with you. You can come here in that second link to see the layout. So first name, last name, credential, and the instructor, and then you have to list the subjects. And then you have all of our home office information. Make sure when you copy this that you are updating everything such as your extension, your Skype ID. Skype, I cannot stress enough, Skype is a very, very useful tool when you're communicating with students, with their parents, especially if you have international students. It can be very helpful. So you can kind of come down here. Also, look at like the part-time teachers. The webmail tutorial can give you more information about how to do those signatures as well. Just take your time, go through this. If you have any questions about how to set up that signature, you can always reach out to your IS, or obviously come here and it can kind of walk you through it. But if you are struggling, make sure that you don't hesitate to ask questions, because it's important that all your emails have this signature available. If you're anything like me, I know that even though I'm an online teacher, a lot of times I can have problems with the technology of all of this, and I really respect the IT department, that they can step in and help us whenever we have questions or concerns with our computers. If there's any kind of updating that needs to be done, you can go ahead over here into this area and you can click on the technology and support in the general setups and information section. You can have Bob's email right there, phone number, even though we are encouraged now, if you have questions for IT, for Bob, that you reach out to your IS, and then the IS will submit the ticket for you, so you can either have that phone call with Bob or he can get back to you through email. Also, a lot of really helpful documents, downloading and submitting PDF documents, navigating and posting on discussion boards, recording audio with Vukaru, reviewing completed assignments, testing internet browser. This is all like great for you as teachers, also really nice shareable resources for your students. If, like I said, PDF documents, saving those to your computer, making that the ease of access can be very nice, because like I said, there's a lot of information here. Sometimes it's hard to navigate all of it. So if you find things that you know that in the future you're either going to be using a lot yourself or you're going to be using a lot giving to students, it'd be nice to save that. Technology recommendations. Usually, like, we want to make sure that our students are protected, our teachers are protected, so making sure that we have reliable internet resources that aren't going to give our computers computer viruses. Sometimes if a student's having issues with one of the browsers like Firefox or Internet Explorer, Chrome, you can suggest a different browser. They're usually free, they're really easy to install. Just make sure that whenever you're sending that link to the student that it's the correct thing. Also, you can kind of come down here and see what the commonly downloaded access information is. So if we're using obviously Adobe Reader for those PDFs, OpenOffice is a really good resource if you want to save that link to send to students who don't have Microsoft Office. I always recommend Google Doc or Google Slides. You don't have to download anything, it's really easy for the student, but same deal. If you want to recommend these, make sure that you have information for the student. It's better to kind of nip those questions in the bud. So if you have something where you're going to send them OpenOffice, make sure that they know how to save those documents. If you're going to send them over to Google Slides, make sure that they know that they should be downloading those Google Slides as PDF documents so that you can open them in Blackboard when you go to review the actual assignments. So you can go ahead. Obviously, there are other things that we can use. TeamViewer is a personal favorite of mine. You can access different computers through one network. So I can access my work computer from my laptop if I'm out and about. It makes it easier for me to be able to access that computer. Dropbox is a great way to store things online. And as I mentioned, Skype is a really wonderful communication tool. Come down here. You can forward your email from the .com account to the .net. A lot of times we do not remember to check our email. for both of our accounts. So having that forwarded and just having to check one account, often that's kind of really helpful, so you can just stay on top of all the policies that come through, anything that is directed through the corporate level. That can be very helpful. So helpful websites, there's a collection of things here as well that you can go ahead and check out, that because they're posted here, you know they're reliable. You're not going to have issues going to an accidental Adobe download website that's going to bring a bunch of attachments along with it. Also really interesting, just resources in general, animated banners, teacher TV. These are really cool things that you can either use as yourself or share out with your students or other teachers. If you're helping someone, if you're mentoring someone, they're great resources. Down here you can even see links that are broken up in different categories: curriculum, go ahead, games, just like ways to be able to further add to the education that you're giving to your students and what you know about your courses too. One of the last things I'm going to be discussing in this video is going to be the AltiPro HR portal. So once a year, we have goals that are due, or at least one goal that's due. So we need to track that goal. So this is giving you information about how to get into AltiPro. You can also see AltiPro has all that information about how you're being paid, what your benefits might be, but you can also kind of scroll through here and this red link, Guide to Creating Personal Goals in AltiPro, excuse me, pronunciation. You can go ahead and there's a nice PDF. It has links to pictures and it shows you exactly what you need to do to be able to update those goals. So whenever the reviews come once a year, you're on top of it and you don't have your IS contacting you telling you that you need to get in there and complete it. Or if you have questions, like I said, this is one of those great things that even though you're going to use it a few times a year to update those goals, saving it somewhere easily accessible on your computer can make your life easier. So as far as this is concerned, there's still a ton of resources, as you've seen. I encourage you to go through these and you'll be getting a worksheet, and part of that worksheet will be you going through here and finding an additional resource that you find very helpful that you might use on a regular basis, or something that you think that is really cool that you don't think a lot of other teachers know about. So even though these are the ones that we've picked just to discuss briefly, there's a ton of other resources, and everyone coming to the meeting, I encourage you to find at least one additional resource to come and share with us. So thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting with you on Tuesday.